is the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz. Brought to you by Gate City Bank and Pepsi.
Welcome into the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz. I'm Rob Hipp. Coach, here we are, semifinal victory today against a very tough and competitive Incarnate Word opponent, but hats off to your guys, and as always, congratulations, Coach.
I appreciate it. Our players had a ton of grit today, and never hung their heads, just kind of stayed in it and found ways to create takeaways, score points, keep them out of the end zone. We knew we were going to give up yards. We just couldn't give up easy scores, and I thought for the most part we did a really good job and made some critical stops when we needed to.
I think of the word Bison pride, and I couldn't have think of a better way that it was displayed here today in this ball game from everybody, from the crowd to your players, the coaching staff. It was on full display.
For taking into account the weather, I thought the crowd was unbelievably loud when they needed to, quiet when we were on offense, engaged, having fun. And I tell you what, when they play the song at the end of the day, there's no better place to be than the Fargo Dome.
Coach, you go back and just kind of look at that first half and got down early 16-0, but your guys never gave up. A lot of grit. Just what adjustments did you see maybe in that second half after the first half, Coach?
Well, even in the second quarter. I mean, they scored two touchdowns right out of the gate, and then they didn't score again. We changed up kind of how we played some things on the perimeter, trying to get our overhang players more into the run game. Offensively, we struggled to get going. We got a huge field goal, which was great. Had a big-time red zone stop down there. Young man was juggling it as he was in the back of the end zone, and then on fourth down they fumble it, we recover it. Just opportunistic football, complimentary football throughout the evening.
You hold a team too, 1 of 4 on those fourth downs, a team that came in at 65%. Just, again, talk a little bit more about those stops on fourth.
Well, even on third down, I thought we did a really good job. You got to stop them on third down to get them to fourth down. I think they were 1 of something early in the first half, and I think that was part of how we stayed in the game early, is their inability to convert on third and fourth downs.
Well, let's take a look at first half highlights presented by Gate City Bank.
For Incarnate Word, 1 for 1 already tonight. Scott gives, Cooper lowers the shoulder, he's going to be short. 3 punts and a safety for the NDSU offense so far. Wilson calls for the fair catch and lets it bounce. That hit a Cardinal, and the Bison scoop it up. What is the call? NDSU ball at the 1, looks like.
Just asking to get run on.
Second down and 10. That's blown up in a hurry. Spencer Wagey fires through to bring down Wiley for a loss of 3. Incarnate Word likes to go for it. They're lined up again. 1 for 2 tonight. 21 of 32 on the season. Second most conversions in the country. Cooper in motion. Scott wasn't ready for it. Ball is loose. North Dakota State can recover it, and they do. Bison football out near the 20.
Just take the check down and see what he can do with it.
Wasting no time. First down and 10. Scott guns it sideline. Weber is there and hauls it in stride. An interception for Dawson Weber. His second game in a row with a pick, and he sets up the Bison at their own 10.
Warmed up, but have not seen him yet in this ball game.
Midway through the second down and 7. Miller with time, now flushed by Paul. Miller, you see the speed. This guy can move. The quarterback is into Incarnate Word territory and dragged down inside the 45 by Caleb Culp. Keep an eye on Big 70, bottom of your screen, Cody Malk. He leads the way for Kobe Johnson. Around the right side. There goes Johnson, tripped up inside the 5. First and goal from inside the 5. Miller in the pistol. Gives it to Johnson. He's got speed, and he's got 6. Touchdown, Bison.
Just be smart with the football, check it down.
Scott to his right. Feels the heat, and gets dumped. It's Spencer Wagey to drop him at the 10.
It takes a little bit of time to get adjusted to. And right now they seem to be up to tempo with this Cardinal offense.
Yeah, they have settled in. Matt Entz used his first time out to freeze the clock at 3:46 as Jaden Price has some room on the punt return. There goes Price inside the 30. Jaden Price takes it in the red zone for North Dakota State. Still two timeouts for the Bison. Under a minute to play in the first half. I formation again. Play fake for Miller. Miller pumps. Miller keeps. Miller scores.
Let's take a look at first half stats presented by Nodak Insurance. Coach, there's a lot of numbers. We could talk about that, but at the end of the day, it's all about the points on the board and the win, Coach.
You're exactly right. I usually joke with people that, college football is not like wrestling where you can have riding time and you earn bonus points because you have 500 yards offense. At the end of the day, you got to score touchdowns. And, we forced, 4 takeaways during the course of the game, had some big-time fourth down stops, and forced them to kick a couple field goals, which were critical because we didn't feel like those were going to beat us.
3 of those turnovers coming, and that is one stat that I'll highlight. You always want to win that turnover battle. Again, you did it tonight. You mentioned +4, but +3 in that first half alone.
Right.
LaShaka Rokes getting down there in some action. Dawson Weber was a force. We'll talk a little bit more about him, but just talk about those turnovers and how it went for you guys.
Well, just, being able to create those opportunities to get the ball back to our offense, getting off the field, we had to find different ways. If it was fourth down stops, punts, takeaways, however we could do it against an explosive offense like this. And that was one thing we had saw as we watched film and prepared, was they had turned the ball over a little bit throughout the year, and we knew that we just had to stay with it. We couldn't panic. Those would come.
We'll take a look at second half highlights presented by Gate City Bank right after this.
Teamwork, talent, dedication, leadership. These values that win championships on the field also build community, improve lives, and make a difference every single day. For you, for our neighbors, for our community, for a better way of life. Gate City Bank.
This one's for every sports fan who just spent the entire game explaining to someone the entire game. You've compromised enough. Pepsi Zero Sugar.
The hunt is on, and it's about to get loud.
For decades, Nodak Insurance Company has been serving our state's residents in good times and challenging times. We come together for the greater good, from simple acts of kindness to company-wide efforts that make a difference in our community. It's who we are, rooted in North Dakota and ready to serve when it matters most. Nodak Insurance Company, agents with answers.
Another rock and roll weekend.
Burgers, better with Pepsi.
Welcome back to the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz. As always, Rob Hipp here, 35-32 tonight over Incarnate Word. And Coach, kind of looking over this ball game. Tutsi, again, 13 tackles after coming off a game where he had 10 tackles a week ago. He continues to grow with this team. It sounds like we talk about these guys every week, but we should.
Yep. Well, sixth-year senior, last home game. I think Michael is just so appreciative and thankful that he was a Bison and got to spend his career here. His family, that's what probably part of the reason why it took me so long to get here. I was with his dad, and I bet I got 20 hugs thanking for the staff and the time and effort we put in to him and his daughter Sarai. But our two safeties played unbelievable tonight.
I want to talk too about special teams. I mean, we saw Caden Steindorf, great punting tonight.
Yep.
You go back to Will Cardinal putting a lot of them. I think every kick went into the end zone, if I'm not mistaken. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to highlight special teams and how big they came up in this one.
Well, you're exactly right. Will had some touchbacks that kind of negated any return threat that we thought they might have. Caden banged a couple down inside. Huge catch by Cole Wisniewski down here over the shoulder to down it at the 3. We had another one downed at the 2, but we put a lot of time and effort into special teams, and Griff hitting a big one again for us. That thing, creeping over the goalpost. Had to get some legs on it, but big time 3 points for us.
Yeah, that 47-yard field goal again by Griffin Crosa. That's a new career high for him. Had to go back to Delaware in 2019 when he nailed a 46-yarder. So special teams coming up huge. Let's step aside, take a look at second half highlights presented by Gate City Bank.
To see if they get some pressure in the backfield.
This is Johnson around the left side. Kobe Johnson with space and speed. Johnson down the sideline. Flag comes in as he rolls into the end zone. A muted celebration right now at the Fargo Dome. For now, it's a 49-yard score. He just scored his 70th total touchdown of the season. Oh, a little shovel pass. Grimes going nowhere. No gain on the 2-point conversion attempt. Johnson back in there next to Miller. Remember, no Tamarick Williams tonight, out with an injury. Miller finds space. This is bad news for Incarnate Word. Cam Miller hits the gas up the sideline inside the 35. Junior from Solon, Iowa. Back in the I formation, gets it to Johnson. Johnson finds a seam. There goes Kobe Johnson. Touchdown, Bison. His third touchdown tonight puts North Dakota State back in front. They like to use him in quarterback runs. He gives it on the sweep to Henderson. Braylon Henderson flips it in for 2. Joe Stuffle brought it in the end zone. What a play for the Bison to go up by 3. Scott keeps Scott to his right on the roll, throws on the run. What a throw, but incomplete. It was Cole Wilson, the intended target. Michael Tutsi, the 6th-year senior in coverage. North Dakota State football. Tough to say who recovered, though, and NDSU keeps it. So on 2nd down and 1, they give it to TK Marshall. Marshall breaks free into Incarnate Word territory down inside the 40. It's Caleb Culp making another tackle. That is a huge chunk for the Bison of 32. The clock at 90. Now Scott feels the heat, spins out of it. Lindsey Scott so slippery. He's got a man wide open. That's Grimes. Throws it up in traffic. Dawson Weber takes it away. And he just sealed it for the Bison.
Let's take a look at final stats presented by Nodak Insurance. Coach, Bison finishing up 328 yards on the ground. Ground game started to work very efficiently, especially in that second quarter. Cam Miller getting in the action, over 100 yards. Kobe Johnson over 100 yards on the ground. And then TK Marshall having to step up. He played a tremendous game again for a second straight game.
He was banged up a little bit, the running back position, and I thought Kobe ran unbelievably hard. TK and Cam had a lot of yardage on probably pass plays that were called, and they just played a lot of back-to-the-ball defense, a lot of single high or brought pressure and played cover 0, and he recognized it and took off and ran.
UIW, just very fast tempo. I think even more than what we saw from Sanford. 94 plays from the line tonight, but you guys were able to match them, had points. Talk just about that communication in this ball game.
Well, it's tough. You got to make sure all 11 are on the same page defensively, or you're going to get blown out. And for a second there, boy, we sure felt like but we made some adjustments. We just had to maintain our poise. And if our kids saw us rattled, boy, they were going to get rattled. Kudos to our players and our coaches, just continuing to find new ways, innovative ways to move the ball and to get stops.
Let's go now to Logan Campbell with our Nodak Insurance Player of the Game, Dawson Weber.
Dawson, early in this game, you guys were trailing 16-0. What was the defense mentality that just flipped a switch for you guys?
Yeah, we just focused on one play at a time, man. And those first 2 drives, it wasn't Bison football, like it wasn't Code Green football, and we just had to knuck up and get back to the fundamentals and details of tackling, keeping the cup, and just playing hard and just playing fast, playing together.
You got 1 interception early in the game. How much of a turning point was that for this Code Green defense?
It was big. It was big for myself, my self-confidence, and just at the overall shift of the team. I'm a passionate guy, so when the team sees me up, they ride behind me, and I'm just very thankful for the win and very thankful we're going back to Texas.
You guys were leading by 1 heading into halftime. It was back and forth in the second half. At the end, you got that game-winning interception. How good did that feel to get the ball in your hands?
It felt great. Like I said, I'm just like very excited that we're going back to Texas, and we get 3 more weeks with this team and this like coaching staff and these players. Man, we put like so much time and work like into this, and just to reap the rewards is just benefiting.
Dawson, we talked earlier this week. You said, I don't care if I make an interception. My main goal is going to Texas. You're doing that your final year here at NDSU. What does this mean to you?
We talk about since game 1 of Code Green defense and how we want to leave our legacy. And I feel like we're 1 game away from what we want to like fully accomplish, and that's that national title down in Frisco.
Dawson, congratulations. We'll see you down in Frisco.
Appreciate you guys.
Dawson Weber, our NODAC Insurance Player of the Game. Rob, back to you.
Coach, we've talked about that turnover battle here, winning it +4 in the turnover margin. Dawson Weber, 2 more interceptions in this game, none more prevalent than that final one. Walk us through that play.
Well, I think we're playing cover, just some bracket coverage, trying to do a good job of giving some protection to kind of our overhang players. Quarterback scrambled, and I was really surprised he took that type of shot. But I get it. I mean, I think they were out of timeouts at that time. We needed to tackle them in bounds, and it probably was thinking, hey, I'll either get a PI or a catch, and they'll get us right down there into field goal range already. But Dawson has such great ball skills, super athletic. Went up, caught it at the highest peak he could, and came down with it. And what a big time play at a big moment in a big game.
He's one of those young men, too, and we always talk about leaders on your team. Seems that he's really emerging as that leader on the defensive side. But, then going back over the playoff games, he's had a pick in every playoff game so far.
It's just good players make plays, and, if you want to find out who's a good player, just see who's around the ball at the end of the play, and good players find ways to be active and be part of the game.
We'll step aside and take a break, and when we come back, we'll learn about junior fullback Hunter Brozio.
Better starts with convenience. Better starts with trust. You can trust that your pre-approval is guaranteed on closing day, which is one less thing to worry about. Better starts with saving you money. No ATM fees and no minimum balances mean how you spend your money is up to you. Because at Gate City Bank, better starts with you. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
I live for adventure. Whether it's playing professional football or the solitude of being in the great outdoors. Through all my adventures, one thing I do know, life is unpredictable and full of change. Thankfully, some things remain the same. Important things like service, quality, expertise, and trust. From my childhood to today, Shields has my trust because it has been right there with me for all my adventures. Shields, right there with you.
Powerful and playful, delicate and precise, bold and carefree. It's the way you move, and it moves us to deliver care for your whole family, to provide options beyond the expected, to help you leave pain in the past and find your way forward. Orthopedics and sports medicine at Sanford Health.
Welcome back to the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz. In this week's Olaf Anderson feature, WDAY's Dom Izzo visits with Bison fullback Hunter Brozio.
Friday seemed like there was the perfect epitome of what you had to do this season. You're catching passes, you're blocking, and you're long snapping. Just describe that all in full, that you've done it all year, but that Friday was like the perfect mix of everything.
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. You know, I never really see myself doing that here. But it's starting to turn into muscle memory now. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
To have this kind of experience now, to say, okay, I've played basically 3 separate positions because you've run the ball as well. I mean, describe that and what that does confidence-wise, knowing, okay, you can flex me out pretty much wherever on the field.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, knowing the whole offense, I mean, I can line up pretty much anywhere, and I feel like the coaches have confidence that I can get the job done. And, I mean, confidence for myself, too, like knowing that I know what to do, it just gives me all the more confidence in the world.
Miller takes that one to Brozio, shakes off a man. Hunter Brozio cuts back inside and inside the 25-yard line. He's also the long snapper on this team. Comes up with a big-time gain.
What skill do you think you've gotten better at? Blocking, catching, long snapping as the season's gone along?
I'd say more like on the ball, tight end blocking, because usually, you know, they use me like in the spring season. I was more just straight out of the backfield. But now they're starting to line me up on the ball, running more routes and stuff like that. So I've definitely gotten better at all that stuff.
Get some phone calls from back home about you catching the ball the other night?
Oh, yeah. My grandma was the first call. She was happy.
Coach, always good to see these kids every week. Dom does a great job featuring these young men. And when we look at a guy like Hunter Brozio, 4th season with the Bison now, and just a defensive player in high school, what stood out about him that brought interest to NDSU?
Well, he was a linebacker. He even came here as a linebacker. Just a hard-nosed, tough kid. He's from Lake Gibson, Florida. Anyone who knows Lake Gibson's in Polk County, it's country. He grew up on a cattle ranch. He wears cowboy boots, a cowboy hat. I mean, he fits right in. You think he's from North Dakota, and I think part of that, just toughness, and he's got some grit to him, made him a surefire Bison.
He's on special teams too, the long snapper. How did he get into that role?
You know, that was something that's been learned, and something he did it a little bit in high school, came in, and has just really worked hard at it. With some graduation, with some guys leaving, he saw it as an opportunity, and he's done a tremendous job with it. And him and Caden have great camaraderie, great connection, work well together.
I think too, when you think of Hunter, you think of a kid that's tough as nails. I've heard it been said, kind of a rare breed in football. Where do you just see him and his future going with this team?
Well, he's going to continue to play a big role on special teams and at the fullback position, and he's played a lot of tight end with some injuries that we've had. He's been on the ball and does a great job, and you know, it's exciting to know that he's got another year with us.
Well, this week's great clip, great question of the game brought to you by Great Clips. It's from Kathy in Crookston. She wants to know, Coach, what's it like for you and the seniors preparing for a last game in the Fargo Dome?
Well, we probably don't talk a ton about it. We talk more with our seniors about the last regular season game because that's the only one that we're guaranteed. You never know what playoffs is going to look like, and first you got to qualify for them. But I think you saw it probably tonight, just the level of energy that, you know, weren't going to be denied, weren't going to quit. Weren't going to settle for just being okay. It wasn't good enough, and you know, our players did an unbelievable job of having great resolve here tonight. And I think part of that was our senior class just refusing to give up and refusing to stop.
We'll take a break. We'll wrap it up when we come back on the Bison Football Show.
This is Jack. Jack loves sports, and since he banks at Gate City Bank, he can show his spirit right on his debit card. Even better, Gate City Bank will donate $10 to his favorite local school. And when Jack's friends cheer on their favorite teams, those schools receive $10 too. Plus, Jack and his friends score every day with free ATMs worldwide. Now that's always a win. Gate City Bank, for a better way of life.
Bison Nation, this is head football coach Matt Entz. With all that goes into leading the Bison to victory, the last thing I want to worry about is the clothing I need to look and feel my best. I shop at Halberstadt's West Acres because I trust that they provide me with everything I need for meetings at the office, press conferences, and casual Bison attire. With plenty of options for sport coats, shirts, denim, suits, shoes, and accessories, I'm confident that when I need anything and everything menswear, Halberstadt's West Acres has me covered.
Welcome back to the Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz. Coach, again, congrats on the victory today. 10th time to Frisco now, coming up in 12 years. Man, that journey, unbelievable, Coach.
Can never take it for granted. It's an unbelievable accomplishment, but we're not done yet. This group, the young men that we get to work with, not satisfied, and that's what makes you so excited about getting to work with them. Is they know there are things that we can continue to get better, and with winter camp right around the corner, I'm excited to get to work.
It's just constant work, Coach. Winter camp. Tell us a little bit more about what happens in winter camp.
We'll go for probably 4 days this next week, and we'll get out and practice again. Spend a lot of time working with our young players, redshirt freshmen. We'll do a lot of NDSU versus NDSU early in the week. Our players will probably get anywhere between 3 to 4 days off for the Christmas break. Back early next week, and then we go. They'll be here through the holidays. We'll give them some time off around New Year's and the first to watch the CFP playoffs, and just team camaraderie, team bonding still. I know it's been a long year, but we need to appreciate one another going into the holidays.
Well, we'll see you January the 8th, Sunday in Frisco, not a Saturday this year. Looking forward to it, Coach. As always, appreciate your time. Good luck coming up in that national championship.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Bison Nation, be there, be loud, and as always, horns up and go Bison.
Today's Bison Football Show with Coach Matt Entz has been presented by Gate City Bank and Pepsi.
This has been an exclusive presentation from Learfield.
When severe weather strikes your community, be prepared with the WDAY Storm Tracker team.
Underneath a lot of that new snow out there on your roads is the ice.
This is what we're watching. Backing in from the east, it comes with considerable wind and very likely some whiteouts.
It's snowing pretty heavily.
Had the